My name's Harriet Bishop. I live in Perth, Western Australia with my family and Barry and Alice. So we run Canniford Farriers with my husband and our apprentice Noah, and based here in Perth. We have quite a nice range of horses and clients, which makes day-to-day life a lot more interesting, I think. So Jason will do quite a lot of the race yards and the thoroughbreds, and then both of us, we have a fair share of show jumpers and eventers and dressage and a good mix of everything in between. So I was born in Scotland but grew up in Yorkshire, and that's home for me still. And then so trained there, qualified in England, and then left to do a bit of travelling. Went to America, came here to Australia, New Zealand, and met Jason and never really left. So I guess Perth is home now. My own father is a farrier, which is, I guess, how I was introduced to the trade. And then looking back through the lineage, we got back to the late 1700s before the records get a bit fuzzy, but our ancestors all worked down in a little village called Canniford. They've all been farriers and blacksmiths, and I'd be really interested to see how far we can follow that line back and see if we're all farriers from way back, but yeah, in the blood. So my great-grandfather served in the army as a farrier during the World War. Got a nice picture of him working on a horse, and the pull-offs that he was using then and in that photo, my dad still uses every day at work, and hopefully I'll be using them one day as well. So a nice bit of history to still be able to use every day and keep it alive. I chose to follow in the family craft because nothing else just felt right. My dad did his best to persuade me that there were better professions that didn't break your back and were a little bit less testing, but nothing was quite the same. Doesn't give me that complete feeling, I guess. Yeah. Qualified in the UK, obviously, and then pretty much straight after that I decided to go off and do a little bit of exploring in America, working with different farriers. And that's one thing that I love about the industry, is that you can kind of go anywhere in the world and there'll be someone that will take you in and teach you, and it's really magic. So did a lot of America. I was very lucky, and then thought, why not come over to Australia before I go home, and did a bit on the East Coast, New Zealand, and then met Jason in Perth and never really left. And then suddenly I'm married with a baby, and I was only supposed to leave home for a couple of weeks. So and that was about 6 years ago. I think farriery is pretty standard around the world in the sense that we've got such a fantastic community, and that wherever you go, there's always a great network of people who are willing to help and support you. And I suppose shoeing horses has always had the same foundations for hundreds of years, and that kind of, you can see that wherever you go. Differences between the UK and Australia really would be environment. Obviously it's a lot hotter and drier here, but the principles are still the same, and the surfaces that the horses are worked on. But all in all, I think there are quite a few similarities with the work. Seeing loads of women coming into the trade now, which is so good to see, because it's something that I think we really thrive in. But in all aspects, you know, barefoot trimming and farriers, and it's definitely something that is more accessible, I feel, for people now. I think this applies to everyone really, and not just women coming in. Don't be afraid to come last or do a bad job or embarrass yourself, because that's all part of the experience, and no one's going to laugh at you or shoot you down for not doing a good job. And push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and people will always welcome you and give you a hand. So our normal day-to-day varies a little bit, but Jason, bless him, will do the majority of the big yards. I'll go and meet him at some of the bigger yards if they're show jumpers and dressage and whatnot, but usually the race yards, that's him and Noah, and I'll go every now and then and do a little bit. And then Alice and I will head out in our car with Barry, and I will do usually a morning's work, or however much Alice will let me at the time, and then try and get her back for sleep, or she sleeps in the car. But work has changed a lot for me, especially, but I can still get out and work. It just means that I've got to be a bit more picky with my customers, and they all do so well with looking after Alice for me. And So
part of business.
yeah, part of the business, definitely. Canniford Farriers originates from my ancestral name. Now I'm a bishop, obviously the name Canniford isn't really here anymore, so it's one thing that I wanted to carry on and represent in my own way. So Canniford Farriers, yeah, it's got its name and its representation. Future plans for myself and the business, I guess just keep going, and with Alice being so young, things change quite a lot, but I want to keep pushing and get some higher exams and grow the business and just make sure that we keep improving, really. No massive goals in terms of expansion, but just want to make sure that we keep learning and keep pushing ourselves to get better all the time. Yeah.